I have a written journal for you from 7:31, just a few days ago. The Mayan day was for Earth. I'm learning, or have learned, to look to my home and local environment for signs of what's going on inside. I finally figured it out that if things are getting neater and more organized or cleaner on the outside, then that's what's going on within. As without, so within. As within, so without. Either way. Just like as above, so below. And it's reverse. No, things in 3D aren't what they seem. They're much better than that. The mind only let us rise so far. It has its limits built in, as does the body. If you're 5'2", you don't go in for wrestling or bodybuilding. Just doesn't make a lot of sense, right? Well, in its way, the mind is much like the body, like that. Each one is different and ideally suited to its user. Rather than so much resistance to life, to what is, how about we move over into adapting? It sounds pretty good to me. It follows mere acceptance, of course. You can't adapt to what you refuse to accept. This adaptation is good for our work in 3D. Mind and body are made to help us be and navigate here. More acceptance of the ones we're using, the mind and body, that would be great. I'm sure they'd appreciate it too. It's when we want so much to transcend this physical level that we can run into trouble with them. Mind and body, the way I see it, are ideally suited to 3D. I don't see that they're designed to go tripping around in 5D or above. Yeah, it's silly. We're so identified with them that if we fail in willingness, identified with them that we fail in willingness to leave them behind. That makes tripping difficult. What can I say? Surrender is the order of the day. Don't be in such a hurry that you surrender your form, of course. Suicide isn't very smart. Most who do so are quickly sorry for the move. Not that they're judged, except by themselves. It's just that you quickly discover that you didn't accomplish what you thought you would with it. Instead, you find you'll just have to go back and repeat the grade again, so to speak. No shortcuts like that will work, not in the way the mind thinks they might. I'm hearing more and more from those who are quite frustrated with current 3D, with conditions here. There's a lot of real champing at the bit going on, and I'm among them. While I wish I could help with that, I don't see how. Aside from singing my song here, I can't reach inside you and make the changes that you require. Can't even assess them. That's up to you. I can admire the beauty of your heart. Your eagerness is for a return to light, and not just light in general, but a whole realm of light. Well, okay, friends, I'm with you there. I want that too. I've got to admit, though, that I don't see that leaving here is the direction to pursue. My choice is to convert the place where we stand. And we do that within, not without. So you won't see me fighting or resisting what is. Well, not much anyway. Hey, we all do to some extent. What I can do is to make a suggestion. What if, and play with me here now, what if it were much more a shift in perspective that was needed than anything else? What if you could accomplish this shift pretty much on your own? Would you be up for that? Now don't think it's easy, since it's not. And at times, it will even seem hellishly difficult. That's just part of being present in 3D right now. More is wrong with us, though, than is wrong in the world. The higher truth is that nothing is wrong with anything, but not so many are ready to hear that one just yet. So we'll go with what works. It's all that makes sense, right? And that line was, more is wrong within us than is wrong in the world. Many are in such a hurry that they bite off more than they can chew. That would be moi. They also get forward focused so that their now goes pretty much unnoticed. I can tell you that way is not going to get you where you want to go. Anything that's consistently taking you out of now, be it into future or past, just isn't your enlightenment, my friend. It may be your making money friend or your having fun friend, but enlightenment is not where it's headed. Time to face facts and to decide what's really important to you. The way I see it, the impatience itself is off base. It's the mind being in a hurry, and I hope you can see that. I hope you will. This path requires a lot of surrender of you. It pulls it out, since that's the only thing that works for so many things. For those who haven't yet faced up to the reality that you are simply not who and what you think you are, well, what am I to do with you? I don't know. None of us knows who we really are. When it gets down to it, if we were offered full enlightenment tomorrow, maybe about 90% of us would turn it down. Whoa, don't be in such a rush to disagree. Let it sit with you for a while. There is some real death that has to go on for each of us. It's the price for that. I know, not tidings you wanted to hear. Well, my friends, this is no namby-pamby shifting we're in the midst of. It's some dead serious stuff. Light, and only light, is making it across whatever barriers are in front of us, whatever we're crossing now. And that means our false identities are not making the trip. They are not light simply because they are false. Heavy news, huh? I hear ya. I'm sorry about that, but then I'm not. I know I've got a good bunch of solid truth lovers out there following my journals. You're just like me in that only real truth will do for you, nothing less. Well, here it is. A fair-sized chunk of you is in process of dying. Are you going to help or hinder that? It's up to you. It's hellish hard, my friends. I kid you not. As I said in an earlier journal, I was very close to convinced over a number of months that my body was dying. If it hadn't been for Ken, my faithful distance healer, medical intuitive, I'd have been convinced. Now, there's a danger in that, friends. Can you spot it? Many of you can. Our beliefs create. It's that simple. So if I was believing that the body was going to die, I could have been giving it, that a belief is to give the body orders. That's what beliefs do. They lay the orders down. It would have been a form of suicide to go along with that belief. Serious danger there. Our beliefs create. It's that simple. We've got all sorts of unexamined sludge running around in the subconscious belief garden, creating after its kind. Had I truly believed the body was dying, that's likely what it would have done. And if you'll sit with that for a moment, you'll realize you have the same power too. You truly do. It's just how things work, how they're put together. Yeah, this is a heavy one as journals go. Still, for those who love truth, I'm sure you're willing to make the trek with me. It's what I'm after as well. This is a very real death that is approaching and literally on all of us. Why is that? It's because here in 3D, as it is today, we all believe way too many lies. We've been programmed and haven't managed to clean all of that up just yet. During this time of the major sorting out that's going on, it's an energy like physics or science that's at work getting things done. It's totally impartial. All your prayers and tears won't influence it at all. Reminds me of Saturn in the birth chart, or wherever it is. Now, that isn't to say they won't work, your petitions, if they're properly directed, which would be at the self. It's time to step up to the plate and accept your divinity. That's the aspect of you that's making the grade here. You see, we are divine beings, but most of us, if we believe it at all, give it more or less only lip service. Our programming against it runs too deep. I've spoken of this often enough before. You know, you've been trained to minimize and look down on the self, to feel pretty worthless in many ways. Well, that's what's going now, out the door, whether we like it or not. And here's the bad news. I'll just give it to you up front, so do buckle up. If you continue to identify with the garbage, the stuff that isn't divine, you're going down with it. It's dying and it can take you along. This is still quite up to you, always has been. You can repent, as they say, and get serious about changing those beliefs. At least letting the garbage ones go. But it's not easy. It takes work and being truly alert. You've got to be serious about it. There, that's plenty heavy, isn't it? How are you handling it? Since this sorting out is coming on through the whole world, my suggestion is that we each get to sorting self out before this whole thing gets into high gear. It's working now, but not as powerfully as it will. Just as you've noticed yourself automatically detaching from certain things. Well, can you see this in action there? It is. The easy stuff is what's going first. Take a good look around at your life or at those close to you, and you'll see this is pretty obvious. Things that are easy to let go of just disappear from your list of what's important in life, and that's fine. So far, so good. Not too big a deal, right? Strange, but not too big a deal. Well, what about when those things you haven't let go of start to go? What will you do then? I can tell you how you'll feel. You'll feel like you're dying. It doesn't get heavier than this. Wow. I've got to admit, I never set out to write a journal like this. I trust that you know that, friends. These journals come through on the flow. I suggest we all take to some sort of journaling, even if it's just sharing with a friend. You'll find if you just let the flow have its way and come out, that beautiful things come of it. And it will be rough like this at times, but it's always a blessing and a benefit, no matter how it looks at the time. Don't resist. It's time for all of us to really pull the focus in towards self. Cease paying attention to the world. It'll take care of itself. It doesn't need you to do it. Turn your vision within and start seriously watching. Do the watch and observe thing you hear me talk about so much. Now, like many of you, I would love to believe that December 21st was really a special date. Maybe it is, but it's not in my now, so I don't care much about it. To me, it's still just a thought, nothing more. What can you do to pull yourself more into your now? That would really help you do this work that's right there on your doorstep. You can't do it with your focus out there in the future like that. Let's say there is some super wave that's on its way in. I'm all for it. Let's even say it makes it here on 12/21. Okay, so what? How is it going to hit you? One way or another, what is dark is going down. It just can't rise into higher dimensions, and you wouldn't want it to. We don't want to bring any darkness at all into New Earth, right? Well, that being the case, then it's seriously in your best interest to get this work done before that time. You've got a lot of letting go and surrendering to do. We all do. A lot of choice points to face and make the best decisions on. Well, that takes having your focus front and center, doesn't it? I bet you can see that it does. This is all really pretty basic, folks. No high Q required to get it. If all that's dark, all that is false or untrue or illusory is going down, then we'd best get to cleaning out the self. If you're a believer in 12/21, then you just have a few months to get this done. Now, what do I think will happen? I don't bank on anything special for that day. What I do see is a constant ratcheting up of the intensity of change coming our way. It gets more intense by the week, if not the day, and surely by the month. So to me, the course is clear. Clean it out or have it done for you. I don't suggest that that will be very much fun. Okay, everyone, heads up. No fear. Is that clear? At the top of your list is working through your fear. All the various manifestations of that. There is no more powerful work that you can do for the self and for the rest of us. Fear is the lowest, densest energy we carry with us. It's also what's behind our tension, our nerves, anxiety, and even our anger. Fear is a poison, plain and simple. Time to get serious about clearing it out. Whatever you do, do not run from fear. Sink and anchor into the divine. You are divine. Nothing to fear. Stand and face it, both awake and in your dreams. Just set the intent. You'd be surprised how well that works. One of the biggest things you can do for yourself too is spend some serious time with a "who am I?" question. This is the ideal time to enter experientially into the realization that you're divine. If not in this life, then you've manifested it in another one. One way or another, it's time to claim this. We're all source beams, elements of the divine. Not just from, but of. Now, this is also one of the greatest antidotes to fear. When you know you're divine, you also know you have nothing to fear. You can also clear away quite a bit of fear by spending some time listening to people share their near-death experience, NDE stories. Not one of them who had any real depth at all to their NDE experience has even a shred of fear remaining. And you can feel that radiate from them. Death, at least in the West, has been cultivated by the powers that were as our greatest fear. You know, we put away the bodies. We don't like going to funerals. We've got this whole funeral home garbage that goes on around it, and all this ceremony. And it's not like it's been in other lifetimes, other ages, other countries where death is just a part of life, and it's no big boogeyman. You know, it's time to see it for what it is. It's their handle on us. The powers that were use fear, and fear of death in particular. Another way to get in gear, so to speak, and really get moving in the right direction is to imagine you're now standing for your life review. Your body died and you've crossed over. There you are, watching the panoramic scenes flash by, all you thought, said, and did, along with all the results. Make the shift. Time is nothing. You're in superposition everywhere, every when. You can shift into that. What do you see? Now, look at your 3D life from that perspective over there. I promise you, if you really put yourself into this, it will shift your perspective in some marvelous ways. We have a false sense not only of self, but of just about everything here. When we stand there, all of that gets exposed. It just stands out stark and clear. Well, you can have that clear view now. It's yours for the taking. Remember, you are multidimensional. You are divine. Claim it. I guess what I'm really saying is to wake up, huh? There's actually a lot more we can do to help this process along, if we're willing to get our fingernails, our hands dirty, that is. It's way past time to surrender the old comfort zone. It's been nice, but now, send it on its way. It isn't real, and it's holding you back if you're clinging to it. The time has come to deal with the difficult things, my friends. By doing this kind of work now, you'll be making an easier passing for yourself when it comes. Now, frankly, I'm seeing the great shift happening bit by bit every day. I've already been once through the valley of death, the valley of the shadow of death. Gotta say, I hope I don't have to pass that way again. Okay, I'm gonna step out. This was written on 7/31, and this is 8/3, and it's heavy enough now that this is some of that. Yeah. The thing is, we are, each and every one of us, attached to thoughts and to things that simply aren't real. Those things aren't making it across the border between there and here. They aren't coming. So it's just time we got serious about being willing to be open and to surrender what isn't best for us. I'm not talking about stupid stuff like your morning coffee or your evening brew or smoke or whatever you do. I'm talking about deeper stuff, about your beliefs, about what you cling to on deeper levels than that. When I started this journal, I mentioned how I can notice when I'm doing internal cleansing by the way the cleaning happens around me in the house. Internal organizing and shifting brings external organizing and shifting, and loads more little stuff out the door to the thrift shop for charity or anyone who could use it. I'm slimming down. I'm just not attached to anything anymore. I'd give it all away, I really would, but anyway. Time to get serious about our soul, about our path, the way I see it. We, the light beings, are the first of those going through this whole thing. And no, we don't see lots and lots of our friends and loved ones going through it. But I tell you, the more we get in gear with it, the sooner it will spread. This thing really will take off at some point, 12, 21, or whenever that day is coming. So it's on us to be prepared. We want to have our ducks in a row as much as we can, simply out of compassion, both for self and also for others. We want to be there for them when their time comes to go through this, right? Well, how can we if we don't have our personal work done? There. I hope that one is over. Boy, that was pretty heavy, wasn't it? I'm willing to be the messenger for truth as I see it, no matter what it is. I guess that's obvious. Still, I've got to admit, I'm glad that more of them aren't like this. Yikes. Oh well. I guess that's just the human in me, wishing it all wasn't so. Can you see a little resistance in that? Hello. Just as I surrender more and more daily, well, let's all be doing that. Let's be willing to embrace truth, whatever it is, even if it's prickly. Stay in heart to attune, so you'll know what resonates with you. Don't pick up anything that doesn't resonate now. And you may find yourself coming back to this one later, after some more surrendering work has been done. Just love yourself first and always. Treat yourself with love and respect. Deep inside, you do know just what the score is. Time to get down in there and really touch bases with that. Oh, and don't forget 2 important things. 1, that you are divine. And 2, be sure to have some fun with it. Yeah. Namaste.